Hey y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com, and today I am working in my memory planner. We are filling in the week of October 17th through the 23rd, which happens to be the week my parents were visiting in town, so I have a ton of pictures. I'm wanting to use this Project Grateful ephemera. This is from last year, so this is not available anymore. The physical ephemera, there might be the digitals over in the Illustrated Faith Print and Pray shop, but I'm like loving all of the florals. And so I think I'm gonna go down the middle, and then I think we're gonna do some matting and maybe call it a day. So I will link the things I can find down below. I'll put you guys on fast forward. Otherwise, let's go. All right, so luckily I already had 3 colors of cardstock in my stash that match pretty well with all of these Project Grateful ephemera pieces. And so I'm going to match my photos. In this particular week, I'm actually going to mat ones that go together for a particular day. So these are both on Sunday. I'm going to do a different color for Saturday. We're working backwards through the week, and I'm grouping my pictures like that. There are different techniques in how I mat. Sometimes I do all one color just because it takes down the busyness of a page depending on what else I have planned. Sometimes I do random colors throughout the page, and sometimes, like this particular week, I am using the color to kind of color code the days so I can see how things are grouped together. It's just different ways of organizing kind of the pictures on your page and in your head as you're putting them down. You can see I'm never like super careful as far as the matting. I'm not going to measure. I don't pull out my paper trimmer. I just put it down on the paper and trim around it. I eyeball it to make it as even as possible. And that works for me. I don't want to make these spreads too fussy, or else I definitely won't get to them. If it took me an hour to an hour and a half to do every memory planning spread, then I probably would never be able to keep up with my memory planning. But the average spread takes me 30 to 40 minutes for the most part once I write everything out and things like that. And that feels much more achievable. Once you pass the hour mark, it's like trying to find an hour to work out. It feels almost impossible. But you ask me to go on a 10-minute walk. Yes, I can do that. And of course, that makes a big difference in your day and in your health. And the same thing with your creativity. It might feel overwhelming to maybe find an hour to be creative, but 10 minutes, 15 minutes, somewhere here and there, that feels much more attainable. And so I like to kind of simplify projects so that I can still enjoy them and not feel overwhelmed by them. All right, so now I'm laying things out on the page because I don't measure. Some of my things don't line up perfectly, so I have to kind of think through how I'm going to arrange them. I rarely fit them perfectly in the boxes for the Happy Planner big vertical spread, which is what I use for memory planning. Rarely do they fit perfectly in there. That's okay, not a big deal. I just shift around a little bit. I overlap them. It all ends up looking nice. I just don't need it to fit perfectly in the boxes. And I try not to do a pattern, meaning having them offset in the same way over and over again. I kind of change that up. So we're going to go with florals all down the middle of this page. I love decorating the spine. It's a great way to add decoration when you don't want to cover up a bunch of the boxes. And of course, I have a lot of journaling to do. It was a busy week. My parents were in town. They came in on the Saturday before this, so on the 15th, and they stayed all the way until the 30th, and they did all the things with my kids. They went to all the activities, and you guys have heard we have a busy life. We have lots and lots of kid activities, and my parents were such troopers and came and saw all the kids doing all their activities, and it just meant the most to my kids to get to have their grandparents there and enjoy that time together and get to kind of show their grandparents what their lives were like and what their interests were. And I thought it was super special. So a ton of different pictures going on, from Cub Scouts and baseball to track and gymnastics and going out to dinner and just all the things. So I have a lot to journal about, which means I don't have a lot of room for decoration on this page. And of course, a lot of pictures are going down. So adding the decoration down the spine is just such a fun way to add in that pop of color, that pop of theme, you might say. And of course, I love the colors in this Project Grateful set. All you have to do to add decoration to the spine, line them up, line your 2 pages up, start adhering pieces over the middle, and just be really generous with the adhesive so that it sticks equally on both sides. Then you'll see later on, all I do is cut it apart in the middle and then repunch the holes, and we are ready to go. Because I am pulling from Project Grateful, all of the words that I'm adding are grateful. And I think that's fine because it was a week that I was super grateful for. My parents live in Texas. They missed their first trip up here because my dad ended up having a health issue come up, but was now healthy enough to come and see us. And so we were just grateful for all the time we got to spend together. All right, I am filling in some little spots where I'm not sure that journaling is going to fit very well. And so you'll see me covering up some odd places where I don't think I want to journal. I'm going to keep the journaling in the main areas of the page. And so that's why the florals, that's why I'm picking these particular places to fill in with additional florals. The other thing that I'm going to do is take some of the smaller pieces like this one here, and I'm going to use it to break up the line that's happening in the middle. So of course, all of the florals are very lined up. I like to think of it as a real floral arrangement where you don't want everything perfectly uniform. It always looks pretty when you have, pieces popping out here and there. And so you'll see me throughout kind of pick some different flowers and leaves that are more singular and have them pop out in different places. And I'll also finish that up after I add in some lines. So once I put in the actual journaling lines, then I always end up noticing places where I need to cover up because the lines just aren't going to work there. So see, just putting some extra sprigs just to fill out my floral arrangement in the middle. This is probably the most floral arranging that I actually do. A lot of you guys know that my sister is actually on YouTube as well, and she has a gardening channel. Her channel is called She's a Mad Gardener, and she is fantastic with flowers and plants and all. She's so knowledgeable and knows all the things, and I can barely keep a house plant alive. Like we don't do it. We don't buy plants because they always end up dying, where I'm just terrible. So this is probably the closest to flower arranging that I could actually keep successful. So we'll stick with paper flowers for now, and we'll let my sister kind of handle all of the amazing plants and florals in real life. So here is where I'm going to go ahead and cut apart the two pages. Usually I flip it over because I can see where the line is, and I just very carefully cut through both sets of ephemera, all the ephemera that's in the middle, cutting apart the two pages. I'm actually going to pull out my Happy Planner punch this time because I do need to punch along the whole line, and just line up your page with the lines, make sure it's all in place, punch. It's a pretty hefty punch, and I always have pieces that stick, so I flip it over. Yes, I don't have the bottom that catches all of the pieces of paper. I accidentally threw it away like over a year ago, and so we're just dealing with extra pieces of paper hanging out. I just pick them up after the fact, no big deal. But punch works great. Moving that out of the way. And now it's just about adding lines and journaling, filling in a few of the last minute little spots that need some more florals, some more foliage, things like that. I use my T ruler. You can pick these up on Amazon, super easy to find, but it helps me add lines just because I never trust my handwriting will actually be straight. And then I do fill it in by hand. And I know a lot of people are not big fans of their handwriting, and I am right there with you, but it's faster for me, so I'm able to get everything in there, and B, I think someday my kids will like seeing my handwriting in here. So even though I don't love my handwriting, we're gonna stick with it. Otherwise, that's going to be it. I will fill in all the journaling, and we will call it a day on this memory planning spread. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider hitting that subscribe button as well as the bell notification button. Just like always, I will link all of the supplies that I can find in the description box. If ever there's something that you wonder about, just ask me in the comments and I will see if I can find a link for you. I want to give a huge shout out to all of my Patreon members. Thank you guys so much. We're having a fabulous time over on Patreon. Come check it out. There's all kinds of extra things going on over there, but most importantly, it's a pretty great community. So come check it out. Check the link in the description box to join us over on Patreon. All right, I hope that you have a fabulous day. And as always, keep it creative.